multiple people have been charged in connection with the death of actor Matthew Perry, according to law enforcement sources. Perry was found dead in his home in October of last year. His death was ruled an accident. The LA County Medical Examiner's Office attributed his death to the acute effects of ketamine, an anesthetic with psychedelic properties. Joining us now are NBC's Steve Patterson, also with us, Misty Marris, a defense attorney, and Dr. Vin Gupta, NBC News medical contributor. So, Steve, what more have we learned about the arrest and these charges?
Yeah, the freshness really in the spirit of what you just said, multiple people charged now in connection with Perry's death. We had been reporting that at least one person arrested. So those multiple people may be part of the larger investigation that has been ongoing now for months. This large federal investigation, LAPD, DEA, U.S. Postal Service, in case something was transferred through the mail, all headed by the U.S. Attorney's Office, really since Perry died about 10 months ago at his home in October in that hot tub, and learning about sort of the acute amount of ketamine in his system. We don't know the details, the particulars of who has been arrested, who has been charged, but of course we can draw conclusions based on precedents of cases like this before. They'll be asking these questions. Did doctors play a role in this? Did they prescribe or distribute the ketamine that killed Perry? Did illegal drug dealers play any part in this? Were they involved in either the distribution or even the supply of the fatal dosage? And did any friends or associates sort of make those connections to what we know? We're going to learn a whole lot more later on this morning. The federal indictment set to be unsealed. We should prosecutors that are overseeing this case as well. Meanwhile, we're starting to hear from family, of course, the Morrison family, Keith Morrison, Matthew Perry's stepfather. The Morrison family releasing a statement saying, "We were and still are heartbroken by Matthew's death, but it has helped to know law enforcement has taken this case very seriously. We look forward to justice taking its course," and that justice playing out as we're seeing this morning. We should learn more in just a matter of hours. Jose?
Yeah, Misty, again, so early on, but what do you think potential charges do you see here?
Well, there are a couple of implications just based on the agencies that are actually investigating this case. You're talking about LAPD in conjunction with the DEA and the United States Post Office. That indicates something that is a larger drug ring than just the locality, because you've got federal agencies involved. You could see anyone in the chain of distribution relating to these drugs be charged with possession, distribution, and that would depend on their position in that drug chain. We know that there were seized many electronic devices that could help unravel who was involved. And if you're talking about doctors who may have been prescribing drugs to somebody who is a known drug addict, they're in a unique position to understand that risk. So you could see something beyond the chain of distribution. You could actually see charges that relate to manslaughter or something more severe under different legal theories. So there's many different legal theories that could be at play, and we're likely to learn more in today's press conference and obviously when these warrants become public.
And doctor, if you would, kind of explain to us, what is ketamine, its use and its possible abuse?
Well, Jose, ketamine is something that we use often within the four walls of a hospital in the intravenous form. Maybe some of your viewers may have family members or themselves experience this. This is an anesthetic that we often use because in most cases within procedures, it allows us to safely anesthetize somebody, but maybe not have to worry as much about lowering blood pressure or compromising their breathing. However, that's within the four walls of a hospital. We're seeing now at lower doses within an intranasal form. The FDA approved an intranasal form of ketamine for treatment of treatment-resistant depression in 2019, very closely monitored, very closely prescribed within very specific guardrails. However, what's happening here are there are many oral forms of ketamine that are not regulated by the FDA, that are on the black market, that have unclear dosing, and that have no indication for use for treatment of depression or any type of psychiatric disorder. And that's the problem here. There's a lot of compounded ketamine on the black market available on the street, perhaps maybe a physician might be prescribing, that should not be used and taken orally or in any form for treatment of depression. And that's the concern here.
And so there's the over the counter. Is that FDA nasal product? Is this over the counter, or you need a medical prescription for it? And then where is all this I guess counterfeit or the ketamine that's available off hospitals? Where's that coming from?
Well, so to answer your first question, the intranasal form, something to discuss if you're somebody or if you have a loved one that might have depression or treatment-resistant depression, have a conversation with your medical provider. It is a prescription-only medication, FDA approved for that indication, specific guardrails. Ketamine is, adulterated ketamine is a recreational drug, unfortunately. And so this is something that is widely available across society. It is an illicit drug in many forms, and it can be distributed in an oral form and bought on the black market, unfortunately, Jose. So that unclear how the source of this. I think this is going to be part of the investigation. But this is something, unfortunately, that's widely available. We know fentanyl and other narcotics are laced across other illicit products, causing respiratory depression. The big problem here is in these unregulated forms of ketamine. We don't know what the dose is. And that's what the FDA is saying. They issued a warning in 2023. Lots of these forms of ketamine are out there, unregulated. We don't actually know the strength of ketamine in these oral forms that might be used for pain or might be used for depression that people are just taking and buying from untrustworthy sources that are not regulated. As a result, concerns like respiratory depression are really paramount here. And that appears what happened here, that a dose of ketamine was taken that was a lot higher than was anticipated. Again, I'm speculating a bit, but that caused respiratory depression.
Steve Patterson, Misty Marris, and Dr. Vin Gupta, thank you so much for being with us this morning.